The Cheating Death Podcast is a comedy podcast that explores anything and everything under the sun, providing an objective viewpoint into all information presented. Viewer discretion and listener discretion is advised. You may reach out to us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we get into the widely perpetuated rumor, the myth, the social zeitgeist, if you will, that college and or post-secondary education in North America is a scam. How and why do people feel this way? Why is it that we have reached this point to where it doesn't matter what your 4-year piece of paper is as long as you stick it out for 4 years? Who knows? We are bound to find out within the course of this program. We provide you an all-new Annihilation Announcement, a new joke of the episode, a top 5 list of awesome meals that involve tomatoes, and much, much more. So you know what to do. Grab yourself a coffee, put your feet up, grab your blanket, and let us tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. We have been led to believe over the course of half a century that college, university is the way to succeed, that a 3 or 4 year commitment can lead you to a career that will lead you to success, savings, and serendipity. Lest we be prepared for the obstacles and barriers that face us along these lovely paths that have been painted a bright rosy pink for us, a beautiful bright blue sky seemingly, but no, a lot of human beings are finding themselves deeper in the waters of debt, seemingly over nothing. And what is it? It is a large capitalistic venture in order to acquire money from people selling hopes and dreams. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tage und eine gute Nacht. Ist deine Reisende und deine Ausländer und deine gestrandet aus alles Fresse. Coming to you with another episode straight here from the Chaos Lair and Chaos Realm. And today we look into the college conspiracy in North America, post-secondary education, leading us to believe that we have a brighter future, that success is inevitable, that as long as we follow the rules and as long as we show up to each course in each class, that success is in our hands. Why is this perpetuated, and why has it been force-fed down our throats for the past half century that college is the only way that's going to get us to a brighter day? You look back in North America in the 1920s and the 1930s, post the Great Depression in 1933 and in 1934, before the realization that the United States of America was going to have to enter the war effort, there was a realization that in order to jumpstart the economy, they needed to ensure that people were working. They needed to ensure that goods were being bought, services were being sold, and that people were, by and large, still very capable of defending the country if needed. Therefore, a lot of industrialists, revolutionaries like Henry Ford and the individuals in whom are responsible in large part for the North American auto sector, those being the runners and the owners of General Motors, and understanding that the textile factories at the time, your Levi's, your Fruit of the Looms, all of your clothing that was being produced at these times were also being produced by scores of people. Therefore, a schedule was required. A certain commitment of hours was required. Therefore, Henry Ford and those in conjunction with him created and imposed the 8-hour workday, 5 days a week, and over the course of several years, it was proven to be a very productive tool. Now, you take that into consideration with Henry Ford and others like him who helped bring this into reality, the fact that breakfast wasn't even a very important thing until the 1900s. Your great-grandfather ate when he was hungry. Your great-grandmother ate when she was hungry. But as of the 1900s, that all changed. Kellogg decided, hey, we need to sell cornflakes. We need to gaslight people into thinking they need to eat breakfast every day. And as such, 100 years later, you have a whole conspiracy that is around an entire cornerstone of not only the restaurant, but the food industry. Breakfast foods. Notice that everywhere you go, you can get a sausage or a bacon and egg sandwich of some variation. But these very same systemic gaslighting tools were used to convince the North American people that the only way for them to succeed and move forward was to attend college or university, to attend a 3 or a 4-year bachelor's degree. And in some cases, you would get through that 4 years, you would wipe your brow, as accumulated a very voluminous amount of sweat and very well-deserved happy tears at this point, only to realize, I'm sorry, Mario, your princess is in another castle. In order for you to get the job that you want and that you have paid tons of money for college for, you need to attend this 2-year postgraduate master's degree, and then you need to go get this degree, which is an absolute travesty for some. Now, mind you, when some enter college, when some enter university, there are quite a bit of preparations, quite a bit of awareness that you have to understand before making an application. A lot of people know what they're doing. A lot of people don't. Even to those who know everything that they're doing, who have prepared and have trained and have written down, practiced their path for years before entering college, even they, at certain points throughout their post-secondary educational endeavor, will be subject to obstacles they did not expect, barriers they did not necessarily need to overcome, being charged $1,500 per semester for textbooks that you can only use once because they are now fully electronic and completely traceable and tracked. And they release a new model every year just to make sure that you don't give them or sell them to new students when you are done with them, therefore perpetuating the need for even more money, more resources from the student to the college throughout this time, when the college is supposed to be supporting the student's education, is supposed to be creating a mind that is not at a high school level, is supposed to be reminding people, hey, dear lovely consumer of regular commercial goods, here's what your future will look like if you want to be a good capitalist. And they often paint the picture of the person who has the 2.5 kids and or the nuclear family and, has an okay kind of school development, goes to university and or goes to college and pops right out and has a job. Well, when you take a look into the specifics of the circumstances, when you prepare for college and when you go and you learn and you take it day in, day out, each lesson, each course, each test, each exam, each preparatory need that you undertake, there are still going to be surprises left and right. There are still going to be costs that are going to be thrown at you that you are not going to be ready for. There are going to be tons of people like you in your dorm facilities, in your college classes, in campus facilities, at the restaurants, at the hangouts, who are just as confused and just as lost as you, who did all the preparation. But how and why do you still feel so unsupported? It's because the system is designed specifically to keep bombarding you with more until you can no longer take it, regardless of whether you finish that 2-year associate's degree or that 2-year community college diploma or that 3-year associate's degree or that 4-year bachelor. It doesn't matter. The reality behind the college and the university education system is the acquisition of money, the acquisition of donations from high-level wealthy people, and to ensure that you have an outlet, a possibility to acquire the degree. But it all depends on you. It all depends on the amount of money that you're willing and able to put in. It all amounts on the amount of time that you are able and willing to put in. There are next to no situations to where you will be 100% completely ready for a college or a university journey. There are always going to be things that come left, right, up, and down. Dorm rooms are a scam. Off-campus housing is very tricky at best. You will spend a lot of money on college. So, if you would rather save that money and do something towards your future that you think might be a better option, take a couple years off after you're done school. Research, fully prepare, and plan. Work a job that you can tolerate, that you might not necessarily want for the rest of your life, but one that'll be enough to save you some money. Keep working. Keep figuring it out. And note that college can be a positive aspect for your life and for your career, but what matters the most is making connections, getting to know people, getting to understand how your industry works and how the social aspect of your industry works. If you are able to do that, you will be far and above the other graduates in your class. Throughout your college journey, it's never going to be an easy road, and even in your early to mid-20s and your early to mid-30s, you don't necessarily need university or college to be a success or to be wealthy. You just need to be strong. You need to be courageous. You need to be patient. And you just need to fight. Thank you for tuning in today. What is your opinion? Email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. Had a quiet game of tennis today. No racket. At the top of today's episode, we promised you a list of our top 5 favorite meals that involve tomatoes, so let us dive right in. Coming in at number 5, we have grilled cheese and tomato soup, a beautiful snack for a nice cold, rainy or snowy day. An excellent addition to this list. Coming in at number 4, we have beef chili. Of course, if you're using crushed tomatoes or diced tomatoes, this is an absolutely lovely meal to have in the fall or in the winter or any time that you need a protein boost. Coming in at number 3, we of course have the BLT sandwich. Coming in at number 2, we have one of the most lovely and most beautiful items to ever involve the tomato, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the pizza. The lovely, delicious pizza. And coming in at number 1, you may be surprised to discover that the number 1 favorite tomato-based meal of this podcast is gazpacho, or simply put, cold tomato soup. What is your top 5? Email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. We could evaluate the conditions and circumstances under which people consider college a conspiracy for eons. We could debate it for days. We could deliberate it for mere decades. In fact, there are more than likely scholars in whom are ironically being paid to do that same thing at this very second. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, is there are 4 tenets in life that matter. 1 is courage, 2, kindness, 3, patience, and 4, resilience. All you need to do is figure out what path is going to work the best for your brain, the best for your soul, and the best for your body, and give it all you got. Thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourself and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast has been brought to you by Nacht am Leben CRDVC, Cleric of Chaos, and can be found where all major podcasts are found. If you'd like to support the program, you may do so at the links in the podcast and the episode's description. If you are experiencing psychiatric duress, domestic violence, or you are going through a life-threatening situation, please call 911 from your phone, dial 988 from your mobile phone in the US or Canada, or please visit the links in the episode and podcast description for further help. You are not alone, you are valued, and you are loved. If you are looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center. And through your travels, trials, and tribulations, dear listener, remember that life is hard, but that doesn't mean that you can't fight back. Remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.